this week's angling vlog. Today you join me on the banks of the river and we're in search of silvers. It's a really frosty Christmas Eve morning and hopefully we're going to get a bite or two. There's a couple of foot on the river and it is pushing through a bit, as you'll see when we have a look at the swim. The objective today really is to get a bite. I get a lot of questions on the blog about how to approach river fishing or how to fish a river that's close to them. This is a new river to me. We fished it in horrendous conditions last time and we had one or two fish. Today it's got more water in, and what I need to emphasise is come out and give it a go. You can only learn so much from the EA charts. They can tell you the level of the river, but you need to come and have a look at it to get the an idea of what that looks like in reality. It's okay saying it's 2 meters high, but what does 2 meters look like on your river? Today it's got about 3 or 4 foot on, so we've come and give it a go, and the objective today is just to try and see if we can get a bite. If we can, then next time you've got something to base your next fishing trip on and make a decision whether you come out and give it a go. Right, so that out of the way, we'll go on to the setup. I've got my 14-foot Dreadnought Plus, a Shimano Techium reel with 4-pound float fish. I've got that down to a 10 number 4 dome top, and we'll go into why I've picked the dome top when we look at the swim. I've got the shot bulked, and then I've got 2 number 8 droppers on the line to a size 18 Camazan animal hook, and that is the setup that I'll be approaching the swim with today. So let's go and have a look at the swim. Right, so that's the side tray. Couple of pints of red maggot, and as you can see there how cold it is, they're barely moving. Couple of pints of Cheshire Particle hemp, and the bare minimum on the peg. They have give a tide today, so I imagine we're going to have to be moving at some point. The swim comes up from a shallow bit, quite pacey here, but there have been fish topping further out. I'm going to try, we see where that white thing is going down there, that is the line I'm going to try and fish. It's not too fast, and if you can see where that other white bit is down there, you've got quite a long trot. And my objective today, as you can see, these fish topping right down the river, but they have been topping here. And what my objective is going to be trying to do today is to get fish on this much lighter paced line and not on the really pacey water out there. Fingers crossed we can get a bite. So let's make a cast. Right, so to start the session, there's fish topping in front of me, and what I'm going to do is try and fish in as close as possible. So I'm going to try and go down just the end of the rod tip on that line there. It's not very deep, but it's really fast down the middle, so just trying to keep the line. It's really shallow where that swan is. That was a knock there, and round about there is where I'm hoping to get the bites. And to get the fish on that line, just going to constantly feed maggots, probably twice on each trot to begin with, because what I want to do is try and get the fish on that line. So it could be that I've got to take a while to get a bite, but what I'm hoping to do is to draw fish on this line. It's only about 4 foot deep, but just flicking that far out, because we're coming off a bit of pacey water, it's naturally going to take it down that line, and I'm going to trot away for a bit just to work out where I want to get me bites before I put the hemp in. Hopefully in my head that is where I want to be getting the bites, around about that far down the peg. If I can get bites there, that'll be great. But to start off with, halfway down the peg, just going to feed again and try and just get some fish on this line. As you see, it naturally goes out about a third of the way across the river out there, and there has been fish topping out there, so there's fish to be caught, but it's a case of getting them on that conveyor belt line. And like I've always said, with rivers, I split them into parts, and there's a bite, and as you can see, it's right down the river there. There's that much pace on the river that, you know, that's where the fish are holding, and hopefully during the day we can draw them up. There's that fish, a lovely dace. And the good thing about dace, they're a confidence fish, because you know where there's one, there's more, and if you can catch one, you can catch 2 or 3. So that's a great start to the session. So 2 more trots down, and again right down the swim, another bite. And today is just about getting bites. It is a new river to me, so I'm learning all the time, but that's another little small dace. Don't know if the camera can see it. A little small dace, and judging by some of the fish that are topping, that isn't the size that's topping, so there are better fish in the area. It's just going to take a while, I think, to get them on this line of bait, and I'm pretty sure that during the course of the morning we've got a good chance of drawing them fish a bit closer to us. So just flicking out there, only the rod tip, maggots, and a pouch of hemp, because you want to give them fish a reason to come up. And the hemp being a lot heavier will just fall through the swim a lot slower, and hopefully they'll get on the trail of that hemp and start moving up, and that's when they find the maggots going through the swim as well. It is a lovely peg because the flow of the bend above me takes it right out. If you can just keep it out the water on the inside, the shallow water, and it does go down lovely there. Just holding back, I just put in my finger on the line, just holds the float back a bit. The beauty of this peg is you can trot for miles. As you've seen in the last blog, the conditions were horrendous, and you know, you could barely see your float. Today, flat calm, and we're trotting miles down the river. So that's the first fish that's come right up the swim. Like I say, it's probably about 20 casts after the last one, and that's come right up the swim, that one. So like I said, the hemp trying to pull the fish from right down, that's probably come where I was saying on the first bit, where they're putting me just above where they've been putting me hemp. So yeah, a good sign that you can get the fish to move up a bit. So them fish really moving up the peg now and starting to get quite steady bites. And there's another small dace coming much further up the swim than on that first cast, and hopefully if we can get a steady stream of these going, we could have a good net of fish. So an indication of how far these fish have come onto the bait, I can actually feed the swim now by hand, just about reaching where they are. They've come right up. We were getting bites right down there at the start, right down there. We're now picking up most of the fish just on this line here. fishing on a sandbank, pretty much what you can see there is what you're fishing over in the swim. This will have been exposed all the summer, this will. So you're going to get a lot of times where your hook is going to get snagged on this type of stuff. So I would imagine today, you know, a lot of the missed bites are when your hook has just got stuck on that type of debris on the bottom. And another Dace just coming on that line, getting steady bites now. Not every cast, but the fish seem to be more localised in the swim. And as I've said in other videos, the Dace, by far my favourite fish. Beautiful fish. About an hour into the session now, and we're getting steady bites from Dace, all Dace so far. And I say we have a quick look at him. I don't know whether the camera's picking that up. Dace are a confidence fish. When you catch a Dace, you know there's more because they are a shoal fish. And if you can catch one, you can catch two or three. All about learning today, just keeping feeding. But one thing that I have noticed is how quick this river drops. I don't know if you can tell from the footage there, but that banking, a lot more of it's visible. And what it's doing, it's making this inside line even shallower. It's pushing already the fish just a bit further out into the same depth of water that I had at the start. So one thing that I've learned already is maybe next time feed a bigger area, you know, further out, because you know that you're going to end up fishing down that line. But the fish have definitely been coming a lot closer than they were at the start, and getting knocks all the way down the swim. It might be a case that we have to keep following the fish out as the session goes on. But like I say, you come on the river in the conditions, you learn a lot more than thinking it's not worth it. And today I've learned how fast it goes down, and that I can get a couple of bites in that level of water. And there's another fish. Like I said at the start, that's what it's all about, just getting a few bites. And on a cold day, it's what it's all about. And on a freezing cold day, it's all about just getting that float going under. And I must admit, so far it's been great fun. Every so often there's been a slightly better one that's shown, you know, just a slightly bit bigger than the smaller Dace that we were getting. The first, I would say, proper Dace of the day, and just come on the outside line that I was talking about, and say the swim's changing all the time, and the line, you go down, you know, you keep having to edge just that bit further out. So deepened up a bit and went a few yards past the line, and a much better fish. And that move onto that just a little bit further out line, and the fish are right up the swim now and coming right on that hemp. And a lovely Dace, and you can see how fast the river's flowing there. Yet these fish, the Dace, are more than happy to be in it. Let's get the fish unhooked and have a look at it. In the short time that I've been doing the YouTube videos, the rivers we fished haven't really been Dace rivers, and it's great to be fishing the stick float for these lovely fish again. and hopefully on this new river we'll be seeing a lot more of these lovely silver darts as we get into winter. Midday and the tide has started to come in. It's going to be time to move back now, I think. It's been a hard day's fishing, but I've enjoyed every minute of it this morning. What the next hour or so holds, I don't know, because I don't know how the tide affects it. But if you can see here, this line when we joined this morning, when we started this morning, was really fast. I'm really fast over shallows. Now it's not even moving, and all morning that's been getting shallower and shallower and shallower, so I've had to move the line further out to keep the bites coming, and now it's completely slack and we're moving back up the bank. So I don't know how high this is going to come. I know it's a proper tide, a big tide. I'm judging by how fast that is coming in behind me. You've got to be sensible on rivers. They're not places to be messing about. Like, I know I'm stood in the river now with it flooding behind me, but I can see that I've got, you know, a bit of time to get out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the bank there and just see how our Azza is getting on, because he's had the common sense to sit a good few feet up the bank. So as you can see there, the tide, how much it comes in, it was getting to a stage where you were fighting it too much. So what I've done is I've just put the gear up the bank and left it and gone and sat with our Azza for a bit. As you can see there, the peg's a bit of a mess, and just waiting for it to turn a bit more, and we'll have a look at the peg and what we're going to do for the last hour or two in the afternoon. This blog will probably go live in the new year, the first week. So I hope you've all had a fantastic Christmas, and I hope 2019 is very kind to you. If you're out fishing, I hope, you know, it's a good time on the bank this coming year. And again, thank you all for the comments and the, you know, the support on the videos, and you know, it makes making them a pleasure. I enjoy making the videos now as much as the fishing, and it's great to see that, you know, people are going out and using the blog and the tips in it, and so many comments to say, you know, I watched this blog and I went out and caught this. And you know, for making the blog and putting the comments in, that, you know, praise doesn't come any higher than that. So thank you all, and let's hope 2019 is a good year. We're waiting for the river to be right. The float that I used today for the morning bit was a 10 number 4 dome top with a wire stem. The reason why I picked that was when you looked at the swim earlier on, you could see it was quite shallow and you'd be going over quite, you know, rough ground, and what you need is the buoyancy in the tip to pull the shot through the swim, and you've got a good solid top there to hold back against, because there's a bit of pace on the river. You need to be in control of the river. By that I mean you need a float that is stronger than the force of the river, so you can hold back. And your bulk, when the bulk's near the bottom, when you hold back, it's going like that in the river, just a little bit as you hold back. If your shot's too light, when you hold back, the river's pulling your line straight, and that's not what you want. You want your bait down near the bottom where your bait is, and that's why I picked that float today to fish the swim. In the afternoon, what I've done is I've moved down probably 20-30 yards. As you can see here, the pace of the river was coming out and then along this shingle bank, and as it shallowed, we hit problems. So what I've done is I've moved further down, and I'm going to go just stay that bit further out and see if I can get them better fish. I've purposely held back on the bait, so I've got a good amount of bait to feed. It's still cold, so there's not much movement in the bait, but at least now my bait is going in a straight line down there. And during the course of today, I fished 2 swims and learned a bit more about the river. But yeah, that's the plan for this afternoon. Really feed it for the next 2 hours and see if we can get a few of them better roach, if we can stay on that further out line. There probably won't be much talking for that rest of the vlog. I'll put the camera behind me and see if we get out. I'm just gonna, you know, the end of the year, I'm gonna have 2 hours where I'm just gonna trot away and see if we can get a few fish. Another Dace coming on this line, and as you've just seen there, it's been fantastic fishing since we moved to this peg. Plenty of bites, and this is just another nice Dace coming to the net. And what a lovely Dace that is, not a scale out of place. I really enjoyed today. It's been hard, you know, a new river and all that, but these last hours since the tide's turned, I really enjoyed myself. And that one might not be the biggest, but certainly in prime condition. Let's get it in the net. Oh, what a lovely Dace to end the session on. Been a really enjoyable day on the bank. Let's have a look at that final net. Okay, so there's the final net. Plenty of bites and an enjoyable day's fishing, and plenty of lessons learned for next time. Wasn't the best conditions today with it dropping and then obviously losing a couple of hours with the tide, but what an enjoyable day's fishing. As I said earlier, I hope you've had a fantastic Christmas and a good New Year, and all the best for 2019. Tight lines, and I'll catch you later.